And we cannot progress in something without putting in hours or effort. So it is as simple as the number of actions that you put in are going to lead you towards one path or the other. Your choice.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the fourth season of HackCast. I am Rado.
I'm Ivo.
And we have the honor to have Georgi to join us here for the fourth episode of the fourth season. Hey, Georgi.
Thank you for having me, guys.
From now on, we will call him Joro. And just to clarify, Joro is the short name for Georgi. In Bulgaria, we have short names for the long names, which are not necessarily have anything in common with the long names. So for Georgi, we are going to use Joro.
Okay, you can use George or G-Man, whatever floats your boat.
G-Man reminds me of Half-Life, but let's get to Half-Life at the end of the episode. And if you are actually watching this episode, it means we have no technical issues and the episode managed to render because we had some technical issues, but thanks to Joro, who helped us, we managed to resolve them, and we will see if this episode is going to air. Joro, before we introduce you, what do you think of our new recording studio?
It looks amazing. I'm very happy that you managed to do this transformation in such a short time. And it reminds me of my own studio. Precisely the circles behind me, which are awesome in your corporate colors. It looks really good. What can I say? You have this very, very tiny space that you have created a studio in, which is kudos to you for doing this. I started my own podcast, the video version of it, probably around 3.5 years ago in identical space. And now I have moved to something like 20 square meters, which is
proper studio.
Proper studio for my standard. It's not a TV studio, but for the podcast, it's pretty good. And thanks to the amazing, of course, Decibel Acoustics,
yep,
we have an amazing and very soundproof studio back at home.
Well, we basically waited for you to create your studio so we can get some ideas and inspiration and do our studio. So thank you again for doing your studio so we can do our studio after you.
Thank you for Teddy's assistance in my studio too. As a member of my community, she helped me paint it and then color it and then put the carpet. So now everything was just for the acoustic company, Decibel, just to put the different, because I have also different walls with different type of soundproofing, and it ended up being amazing. And every time I enter and turn on one of the LED panels just to have a ambient light, I'm like, oh my god, I have this studio.
Sounds really good. And we're talking about studios, but Joro is perhaps one of the OGs of the podcasting in Bulgaria, and he has one of the longest running podcasts called the Superhuman podcast, which is in Bulgarian, and it is indeed an inspiration for us all, because he invites guests from all various industries and kinds and backgrounds, and manages to do a very thoughtful and thorough conversations with them. And you can always find something that's meaningful to you and something that you can relate to. But I might not be the best person to pitch the Superhuman podcast that Joro is doing. So Joro, please tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I had the honor of having both of you on the podcast. So everything started 7 years ago, 7 and something, almost 8 now.
Were you the first podcast?
No, I believe that Bulgaria is pretty much following the Western ideas for anything, podcasts included.
Yes.
So in 2008, when Joe Rogan started his podcast, I believe he created a movement before it was cool. there were technical difficulties of having a podcast on your mobile device. First of all, because we didn't have enough memory on them, and then we didn't have the internet to keep them streaming, etc. In 2010, someone started a podcast in Bulgaria, but I couldn't remember the name of it. But it was something like entrepreneurial, IT related stuff.
All right. Yeah.
And I believe that the technical difficulties were one of the reasons that it didn't last. In 2016, when I started the Superhuman podcast, everything was inspired by my dream, which is to help others lead healthier, better, and happier lives, and to have this impact on people. And the first thing that came to my mind was the answer of this question for myself. Okay, what helped you change your mindset, the way that you were dealing with life? And at that moment, I was such a fanboy of a podcast called Addicted to Success, which I was listening to all the time. I was at that time working Lufthansa Technik, Material Flow
2016?
Management, 2016.
Wow.
And working Lufthansa Technik, I was following different shipments of spare parts for aircrafts. I was also organizing some transportation. I was later on moved to a different team, different department. Then I moved to Lufthansa Hamburg, Lufthansa Technik in Hamburg in 2017. But during the time that I was working and mainly answering emails and tracking in DHL.com different shipments, and it was a repetitive job. And I couldn't listen to my colleagues talking on the phone and this the noise, the white noise of an office. And I spaced out. I just wanted to listen to something that gives me
That you can relate to.
Not only, but I wanted to listen to something that improves me in a way.
All right.
And going through SoundCloud, because YouTube was blocked on the corporate access, and I was like, okay, SoundCloud, and I don't even remember what I typed, but I ended up listening to the Addicted to Success. And then I was like, okay, I've heard that Tim Ferriss has a podcast. I read the 4-Hour Work Week, but his conversation were too vague, without an aim, without a topic, without like a really in-depth conversation. They were more about life in general over a glass of wine, something that we would do if we had, instead of coffee and water, glasses of wine here. And this is why I stick to Addicted to Success. And when this idea to have my own podcast came to my mind, I was like, this was so transformative in my life. So, but there's no such thing in Bulgaria. Why shouldn't I do it? And I started with an iPad, which was something that I won from a Visa, from my credit card and Visa's cashback game of my credit card, which was something that I was not expecting. I thought it was some kind of a scam, someone calling me and telling me, hey, you've won the biggest prize.
You won an iPad.
And I was like, what's the biggest prize? And he's like, an iPad. I was like, oh my God. I didn't have any devices, any Apple devices. Microsoft was, and Android was everything that I was using. And I started using my iPad as my notebook for my clients in fitness. I was using Google Docs and Google Sheets to have the different exercises with the kilos and the repetitions, everything in it. And this was 2015 in the winter, and then in the summer I started the podcast. I was like, okay, this podcast came to me to be the device that I started the podcast with. And another added value for it was that I could put my iPad in my backpack, hop on my motorcycle, and go to a very busy person's office to prevent him and her to get out of the office, get out of his workflow, travel to somewhere, look for a parking space, etc., etc., etc. I was like, it would be easier to get a yes when I'm going and coming to your office on foot, on bike, and interviewing you right there and there, then and there. And then everything started off with this convenience. and of course with the fuel that I had in my belly, because I recognized that this is what I want to do. I want to get to know interesting people that I can access to, but the other people in Bulgaria could not. People that are doing positive things, giving positive example. And imaginarily, for me, I was thinking that one of the episodes must help one person, just at least one person. This was my OKR. One episode is helping one person. That's enough. I don't need anything like in terms of confirmation that it really works. And I knew that I had to improve myself in terms of questioning people, interviewing them, listening deeply. I did a podcast to learn myself to listen because I was a talker, obviously. You can see it, patterns. And then one day I received a message from Teddy that she found the episode with you. And this was one of the first very, very big confirmations that I was doing something that really matters. People from around Europe and the world coming back to Bulgaria to work with companies and with the people that they've listened to on the podcast.
Yeah, this is how we started working with Teddy, by the way.
It is, and
again, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, and thank you, Teddy. And
Teddy is great.
Yeah, of course. Everyone that's listening to the Superhuman podcast is great, and also the guests.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is how it all started. And in 2017, I moved to Hamburg to work there, and I had in the back of my mind this thought: okay, what if someone says I cannot work on my dream? And I will say, but I'm in Hamburg and I work on my dream remotely, and it works. It's getting better and better. And yeah, everything for this 1 year that I was in Hamburg was going smooth. I focused on what's the most important thing for the podcast. It was to have a new episode every Tuesday. And in the beginning of 2018, I was like, I cannot be here anymore. People are messaging me more and more that I'm helping them. I want to go to Bulgaria and try to convert it into something that's sustainable and that reaching more and more people. And in 2018, in June, on the 2nd of June, which is one of the national celebrations here. If you've been to Sofia on the 2nd of June at 12 midday, everyone is going to stop because there will be like sirens everywhere in the cities throughout Bulgaria. Because one of the greatest hero of the national revival, the person that gave his life away for the freedom of Bulgaria, Hristo Botev, was shot on the 2nd of June.
Yeah.
And every year that I hear the sirens, I was like, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I came back on this date. Was it worth it? And every time I say, of course it was worth it. You're like free to do whatever you want and to help people improve their lives and talk to amazing leaders here in Bulgaria that are driving a positive change, and like these people here that I'm having my opinion with. And it's this is a very, very short story about this 7.5 year long journey. 374 episodes on the day that we are recording this. I'm releasing 374.
That's actually extremely impressive because we were running some numbers for how many episodes we're going to record next year, 2024. And it's like, 12 is okay, but he's running with 300 is impressive. And yeah, I think you deserve to have an episode like 3 hours long episode where you tell your story. But for episode number 4 of HackCast, what are we going to talk about, Ivo?
We are going to talk about remaining healthy in the IT industry.
Actually, this is a part of my story too, because the podcast logo is a superhuman. It's an atlas.
Yeah.
It comes from Atlas Shrugged. And why is that? Because when I started the podcast, when I was starting the podcast, I realized what is the thing that helped me the most in my life in terms of feeling capable and energetic to do things. And in 2013, 3 years before I started the podcast, I was introduced to a person called Lazar Radkov. Back in the days, a very influential fitness fitness guru, I must say, because he was not only coaching but doing conferences, seminars, telling people about the importance of the proper squats and movement and not sitting on a chair all day. And this was always related to IT industry in a way, because people in the IT industry back in the days as well, they had the best perception of how can movement and physical exercise improve their lives, and they also had the resources, because Bulgaria has moved a lot in a positive direction in these last 10 years, but now there are thousands of people in the IT industry. But before that, it was some kind of a hand-picked number of professionals.
Yeah.
And I started working on my health and fitness, and then I did an internship for Lift to Lift, his program. And then in 2015, I even started
You became a
working.
coach.
I became a coach.
You
I started
basically
working.
became a
I've worked
coach,
with you.
Yeah.
I've worked with you
Yeah.
a bit. And then we, when I was coming back to Bulgaria, we had this idea with Lazar that we're going to make a business together, fitness business. So it can bring in cash that I can do the podcast for like absolutely for free, like a cause, which was something that I learned back like a couple of years ago, that it cannot work, because you need to be putting your 100% of your efforts in one thing, and then it gives you back, it pays you back. It doesn't need to be verified, something that's bringing in the sustainability of your business. You can do a podcast and get money from it if it's really, it has the reputation, it has the content and the substance that's valuable. And last year I quit working on fitness at all.
That's actually I didn't know that, and it's an interesting story. But
It's part of the reason why I came back, because I thought I can pay my bills with this, and then I can keep going and growing my podcast. But at some point, it was just too much of a burden. All the operations, everything that I had to do. I was like, okay, I know it's helping other people as well, and this is one of my values. It's like helping others and impacting their lives. But for the first time in my life, I quit doing something impactful, positively impactful, to focus on something that's more impactful.
That's a great story, by the way, and there is a good takeaway for focusing on something that drives you and giving it 100%, so you can feel good with the results and the impact. And I mean, remaining the topic, remaining healthy in the software industry is the name of the episode, or to generalize in the IT industry, I think is still a very, very relevant topic. And we all know that the default state, and I believe this is still true in the IT and software industry, is that people are not as healthy as they would like to be. Not to use the word unhealthy, but not as healthy as they would like to be. And perhaps, Ivo, what's your gut feeling about that? Why do you think this is the case?
As someone not very healthy in the IT industry, I can...
Not as healthy as you would like to be.
Yeah. Well, I think that the industry definitely gives you a way to work long hours. So it's pretty common that people work more than 8 hours a day, just because you can just physically, basically your working time can never end. You can just continue working and just don't leave the office. When in some other industries, they're like fixed period of time you can work, and then you just can't. If you're a teacher, then you're just your students, let's say, they go home and you cannot continue, which is one thing. And on the other hand, you're really stuck in front of the computer basically all day.
So you're sitting for 8 hours at least. Yeah. I think the job involves quite a lot of stress. There are other professions that are much more stressful, and if we go into like medical professions,
for example,
doctors and physicians and ER personnel, it's much more stressful. So we cannot claim like it's the most stressful job, but it's still quite stressful. And when you combine those things, like you are not moving a lot because you commute, then you sit in front of a computer, and then you again commute, and then you sit on your sofa. Like this is the default. There is enough stress to make you lose focus on other habits like eating healthy and moving and doing something like a physical activity.
Yeah.
And it can also impact your sleep. And all of this, when you combine it, it leads to either burnout or people being...
It's a negative spiral.
Yeah, it's
A negative spiral because if you allow something that you're doing throughout the day to impact your sleep, the sleep therefore impacts the next day, and it's getting progressively worse. And one thing that our brain has in as a mission in our life is to keep us alive. And what the brain does very well is to normalize things.
Yeah.
So you're like working long hours, sleeping 6 hours a night or something like this. And then you're like, yeah, I can do it. I can handle it. I've been doing it for months, for years. And at some point, the progression of stress is, and the next leap in stress leads you to a healthy consequence. There are two, because in the beginning I was thinking, okay, I've improved positively the way that I feel in my life. And in the podcast, I was asking successful people what led to them change the way that they treat their bodies and treat their health, therefore. And some of them are IT professionals. I had Botron founder Georgi Nenov, for example, who was so focused on strength training, and so on and so on. And all of these people were like either saying one of these two things. The level of discomfort that you felt at some point became so big that you're like, I cannot leave my health to rot, and I need to do something about it. The second thing is a game-changing moment, which 100% of the time is something negative, like diabetes, some kind of a really, really tough heart attack,
health scare,
like health scare, a massive health scare. And then people are like, okay, oh wow, I didn't see how I got here. Yeah, of course. And because people prioritize working a lot, like putting in your head into something a lot, but not thinking about, because the results of the good career in IT comes with a lot of hours. Yes. Same thing applies to good health. So same thing applies to having a positive family relations. Yeah. Everything in this particular life, the human life, is related to the number of effort and the time that you attribute towards this given action. And it's not an action to spend time with your kid, but when it's a baby, like I'm currently going through this, but spending hours with it is building a bond. Spending hours with you, either running or weightlifting or jiu-jitsu or swimming or etc. It tells your body, listen, you're very important to me, like in some kind of a subjective manner. And we cannot progress in something without putting in hours or effort. So it is as simple as the number of actions that you put in are going to lead you towards one path or the other. Your choice.
I just wanted to say thank you for watching HackCast. It means a lot to us. We are doing all of this because we want to provide value to you, our viewers and our subscribers. We hope that you find the conversations that we're having with our guests interesting and you will continue watching HackCast. Of course, now we have a very specific goal to get to 1,000 subscribers, and in order to say thank you to our 1,000 subscribers, we will pick one of you once we get there and send this beautiful DAS Keyboard 6 Professional. It's a very good keyboard, it's a professional keyboard, and we really want to send this keyboard to someone. So if you are not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe, and we will continue making valuable content for you. Thank you. Let's break this down. I think it's worth to break this down. So We will get to movement, we'll get to food and nutrition, we'll talk about mental health also. But usually, and if we focus on the IT and software industry, stress comes from because people are dealing with complex problems,
Deadlines.
and because there's quite a lot of push from management and upper management and bosses, and deadlines that are not always realistic, and everyone's trying to measure everything, where like building software is it sounds like it is going to be the easiest thing to measure because it's like working with computers, and it's quite quantifiable, but it turns out to be the opposite. It's really hard to predict something without getting there. Like it's a system where you need, in order to figure out the outcome of step number 10, you need to do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Exactly.
8, and 9. And when somebody asks you how long is going to take you to get to step number 10, the honest answer is I will tell you once I get there. I will look back and tell you it took me 3 days. I can do my best to give you an estimate. But the thing is, at least in our industry, whenever you give an estimate, it's an immediate deadline. Everybody's saying, give me an estimate, a ballpark. I will not treat this as a deadline. And then you say a number, and then this is now the deadline. So all of this causes, at least from our experience, we're speaking right now from experience, and working with people and managing and leading people, this causes a lot of stress because you are not in control of the outcome of your work. No means.
It's the same thing as putting a deadline on the weight that you're going to lose. And you cannot do this because you're putting a deadline as a result, and the deadline is something that's pushing you. And the point of the deadline for me is to make you feel more responsible towards putting in action. Because the only thing that takes you from A to B is the actions that you did on the way. And when you were describing how IT industry works in terms of steps, one following the other, it's like asking like a painter to draw a picture. And you say, I want a picture of a bird. Give me a ballpark. When is it going to be ready? So I can draw a bird in like 5 seconds, and I'm not a drawer, but generally an artist is going to take some time to observe birds, to learn what kind of bird would you like, on what kind of background, etc., etc. And it's the same thing. He's going to use his mind to convert what he sees into what he draws, and then voila, the outcome. And because we are spending so much time thinking about problems and how to draw this and how to compile this or solve this solution, we're going through this movement from physical work, physical labor, to mental labor. And IT people are creative people. I mean, they are objectively creative people. They have the math background. They have the logic behind it. I am very good in. I was going through some basic software development courses, and it's in me because I have the first 14 years of my life going through mathematical problems all the time. I love it, but we are being treated as like some kind of a factory of like you create something that's mass production. It's not mass production. One item might take you 10 days, the other might take you 100 days. There are a lot of variables in this industry, and I don't know how to treat the problem apart from take care of your body in a way that's going to allow you to work better, quicker, sleep better, and have a happy life, because it's not only physical but also emotional way that you treat your body. Because if you're unhappy, it doesn't matter how many abs you can see. If you can see 6 or 8 abs on your belly, if you're an unhappy person, you're an unhappy person. So that's the end of the game. But if you have a body that allows you to do the things that you love, and a body that allows you to work in a way that you feel like you're improving and you're work matters, and you're spending time with people that you love, having a conversation or going out with girls or boys or having some social life, and then you're like, I feel happy in my life. So simple things that are basically helping you treat the problem with the stress. And we are like treating the stress like, okay, I'm going to put everything in it, and whenever I'm ready, it's like everything will go away. No.
It never works like this. It
Yeah.
never works like this.
You get
And-
what you tolerate, says Jocko Willing. And I love reminding people about this. Because next time you said, oh, boss, I did it in 14 days. This was amazing. Okay, next time you do it in 12 days. And you're like, I didn't do it in a less time next time. I did it because I had a deadline. But because you don't say, okay, I need to leave so I can do my workout. So tomorrow I'll be fresh and keep working on it. It's a very complicated matter because we are also treating it in a way that everyone treats it for himself. There is no universal formula for it.
And I really like this, the Joe Rogan quote, you get what you tolerate.
Jocko Willing.
Jocko Willing. Oh, it's the other with J. Jocko Willing, even better. And we usually, the way we address this particular kind of stress that's very specific to the work that we do, at least here in HackSoft, is we always tend to run in teams that have a support system. Like you are never on your own. Like the client is acting in a bad way, well, someone will step up. Someone will come and help you either figure out how to talk with the client or it will talk on your behalf. And we've seen good results because the things that I observe in other companies is that people are left on their own, and this doesn't help them with the stress and managing things and managing expectations, and removes the joy of the work, which I think it's a really, really bad thing, because you then are just going through the motions to get the paycheck. You can have a happy life and you can balance it. You can be completely miserable at work and then okay and happy outside work, and that's fine if it's paying the bills. But at least what we try to do is to always have teams and always have a support system and always have some kind of a risk assessment function. Meaning, if a client gets too toxic, can we just say,
Yeah,
goodbye?
I've listened to these episodes in the previous season.
And that's the hard part, because sometimes if you do something quite drastic, and you always try with diplomacy, like I became a big fan of diplomacy for the last couple of years. You always try to work out the problem in a way that fits both parties, but sometimes you have to figure out, hey, if we remove this client, how is this going to affect us financially? Can we afford it? Do we have to let someone go from the company? What do we have to do? And it's an interesting topic and interesting balance. But this is particularly my observations for the software industry. People are getting a lot of stress when they're left on their own, and they have no one to turn to and no one to ask for help, and they're just, what do I do?
But this applies to humanity in general. If you leave someone to dig dirt somewhere on his own, he'll feel like left alone, not part of a group. His work won't have any impact whatsoever. So we need to remember that together it's way more fun, even like the stupid jobs, because you do it with someone and you're sharing this experience. You can talk to someone. And taking care, it's very interesting for me to ask, how do you guys approach people from your team that really need to take care of themselves? Do you encourage them? Do you raise a hand in a way, or do you expect them to raise a hand and say, I'm like overworked, I need to have this afternoon for a walk or something like this? How do you treat it? Because in a way, the IT industry is like picking up smart people, but sometimes the smart people are not being able to treat themselves.
That's true.
What do you do?
You?
Well, we work really closely with people. So whenever someone in my team is underperforming or just looking sad or looking, I don't know. If I can spot a red flag, I'm just having one-on-one with the person, talking about her or his problems and how I can help, or we as a company can help. And
what do they say?
Well, some people are just, oh, nothing, everything's fine, I will figure it out, and I try to dig deeper to understand what's going on. What I'm really doing is trying to be really close with the people I work, not like close working with each other, but close as human beings. So I think that I definitely know what's happening with the people that I work with, and that really helps me a lot to first of all do my job better, and second of all be better as a lead in the teams that I participate. So that's what I do.
Rado?
It's kind of the same, but at least from my experience, you have to be careful with pushing too much. Like the most important factor here is if this person trusts you, because if they don't have trust or they have lost their trust, they will just say, "Oh, it's nothing. I will figure it out," and then hand you their 1 month notice. Like we've seen this happening. But if they trust you at a certain point, working with them, talking with them, you will see what the problem is. They will tell what the problem is, and then the problem is going to be addressed. And again, from my experience, I've seen this happening more easily with women. And I've seen men having more of an ego to overcome before we can address a certain problem, because sometimes people feel like they should be able
strong
to overcome this and be strong
on their own. Yeah, this is what we usually do as men. We're like, men should not have feelings, they should not cry, they should be able to do it on their own, which is not true. That's why I visit a therapist, and it helps a lot. So because we are digging into a topic, being a healthier as developers, as IT people, and why do you guys put so much importance on stress?
Because we've seen that stress is the factor that deteriorates health, because whenever you're stressed, you are starting to skip the things that can help you improve your overall health, like physical activity, eating healthy, and getting sleep. Because when you are, and being a social creature in a community, like whenever someone says, I will skip lunch because I have too much work, and starts doing this over and over and over again, and then I will not go to the gym tomorrow because I have too much work. And this too much work, the only driving factor for actually saying this is the stress of I am not good enough, I'm not performing enough, something bad will happen if I don't deliver this. And that's why for me stress is the driving factor of all of this. If you're not stressed...
Quick, okay, what do you think, Ivo?
A lot of things. Well, I think you probably heard from a lot of people, I will start training whenever this project is done, or whenever I'm done with this team and I get to my new job where I'm not going to face any kind of stress or difficulties. So I think that things are really interconnected together.
Yeah, they are interconnected, but I'm asking this question because having too much stress is itself like the red flag. But when someone says I have too much, like going back to what I said a bit earlier, too much work means I cannot think of a way to solve the issue, like technical wise, or because you're not anymore you're like writing C++ type of coding that you're like building everything. You're basically combining blocks of more or less and trying things. Is there a way that this support between people can lead into like quicker way of finding solutions?
This is an interesting topic. Finding quicker solutions will not, in most cases, get the job done faster.
Okay, quicker, like in terms of a faster process of finding a solution for the issue. What is the issue that gives stress in such typical ways? I have too much work, I have to do this, like I have something to do.
Well, it's not always I have a lot of work, that's why I'm not keeping care of myself. It's sometimes the stress is at least for me, the stress is not produced for the amount of work that I need to finish, but on taking decisions. And as an IT
Okay.
people, we do a lot of decision making.
There we go.
Yeah, and decisions that we are accountable for after this.
Okay. Mhm.
So when basically on our day-to-day job, even as a software developer or as a manager or any kind of IT role, you're taking a lot of decisions.
Okay.
And these are important decisions that you're accountable for those decisions after that. And especially when you are not like really good at taking them, or it's the first time you take such kind of decisions, it is stressful, of course.
Okay.
And then at the end of the day, you may be ready by nothing expects more from me, but I just feel like, oh, it was a long day. I had a pizza and watch some TV and don't do anything to the rest of the day because I'm tired.
Thank you, carbs. Okay, so in the beginning of our conversation, I tried to rotate the focus towards different things that more or less like painting and software development. It's the same thing. Like when the painter decides to use a color, it's something that you decide. It's his responsibility to draw something, and he has the responsibility to choose the colors correctly, for example. But the same thing applies to our body. We are responsible for our body, and the problem is that we usually spend so much time and effort and responsibility on our work to become financially stable, and not only us but our families, which means basically we are sacrificing our health to get a lot of money or some kind of to provide for the future. And then we reach a place when the future should provide for us because we are like our health is ruined. And this is it's something like the egg and the chicken. What's first? And there should be a balance because, for example, I have a very, very good friend of mine. We say, yeah, but you should be like a bit more intelligent to realize that you're overworking your body. This is not going to lead you to a good place. But I had a friend of mine that works for Apple in San Francisco, and he's a Mensa member. So in a room with 500 people, more or less, he's the first or the second smartest person in terms of IQ in a room of 500 people. But he's like, I don't know, 200 kilos at the moment.
Oh no.
And this is because he's focusing so much on his work and does so little about his health, which basically sends a signal to the body, okay, help me get through this and this and this and this and this and this, and keeps going. But at some point, the body will say, I cannot do this anymore. And alternatively, you can see what the body wants. You provide it to the body, like I need a walk, I need water, because a lot of the food that we are getting is our built-in reflex of having fruits or having any kind of food because it consists water.
Yep.
But we are having food and not water. And water is one of the most important things that are helping the satiety index, which is the to feel ourselves full.
Yeah.
Water, protein, and fibers. 3 things. And fiber is what? Fruits and vegetables. Protein is like meat, eggs, fish, and then there you have water. And all these 3 consist when you have them at every meal, then you're going to be feeling very well. And where are the processed foods? Nowhere. They're just calories into smaller quantities of food that you can eat all the time and don't make you feel full. And you need to feel full because feeling full is I cannot work when I'm hungry. I'm such a sour person when I'm hungry. And having water regularly keeps my appetite low and helps me feel fuller with less food. And this is one of the things that are this simplicity no one is talking about it because you don't need healthy food, because healthy is like a label.
It's a marketing.
It is a marketing, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's awareness would be the word. What's the awareness towards food? What's the awareness towards movement? What's the awareness towards sleep? These are the three pillars. Fourth is like fun, of course. Emotionally, you need to have fun. And my experience on these three things, you need to create habits based on all of them. And habits means make them part of your life in an easy way. Therefore, there are the bracelets that are saying, okay, get up from your desk. But you're in the middle of a task, and I know what it is to feel inspired. You're like, okay, I have the solution. Let me write it down, or let me do it. And therefore, you can make shorter periods of training, which is training because you are training to be there, not work, to do resistance training, to do runs, to do swims, to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and focus on because this is what I do in the last 5 years. I don't go to the gym anymore. I go to my dojo, and then I struggle, and I sweat, and it's hard, and I get humbled every day. And this is the most important thing for me. Wake up, go and train, and then the rest of the day is amazing because I've been choked. I've been my joints have been locked. I have been pressured by some like guy 30-40 kilos above my weight. I'm 85 kilos, and it's hard, but I've did every day. I did the most important thing for me, taking care of my body, and this is a habit. But I don't want everyone to have this habit. I want everyone to have the awareness of what's the sport that gives me joy, what I love doing. It might be hiking. It might be a walk in the park. It might be a run in the park. It might be go to the swimming pool, get some lengths, go to the gym, do some weight strength resistance training, or do some yoga if you're a lady. Or your ladies can do all, of course, but just yoga might be a bit more
Of course.
a lady thing. But I did yoga too, and it was great for my emotional well-being. And food comes like the next step. Okay, I'm now moving. What should I give my body in terms of energy so I can sustain the activity that I'm doing? Because physical activity would lead to like better appetite would lead to more calories. It might be a two-edged sword. You're like, okay, I'm training a lot, and then you're eating like 2-3 pizzas on lunch.
You're rewarding yourself for the effort.
And then the last thing would be sleep. And this is if there's one thing that's like the ultimate super drug, it is sleep. Because sleep regulates the way that our body gets back to optimal shape, like muscles, tissues, joints, everything, and mental. In a mental way, to be able to defragment our hard drives, the information that we had to remember better. We need these 4 hours for the body and 4 hours for the mind and the emotions. And people are like, no, I'm sleeping 4 hours, and it's enough for me. It was for Kobe Bryant. You're not Kobe Bryant. Don't do like Kobe Bryant things because you're not leading the Kobe Bryant life.
Yeah.
And sometimes people that are overweight come to trainers and say, I'm a lady, I don't want to be muscular. But you're overweight. You cannot be muscular because before being muscular, you need to go down the weight scale, work on habits, and then you need to start to train like a person that's going to become a muscular. And you have 2 kids, a nice job, a corporate career in IT company, and this is not the main priority to be someone that's going to, I don't know, Olympics for CrossFitters or bodybuilding championships. So it's we are rationalizing things as people which prevent us from leading a balanced life. And all these 3 things, under like the one that's deprioritized the most is sleep, because why sleep? When we die, we'll sleep. And this leads to this downward spiral of, Do you know that having less sleep works on your ghrelin levels, which directly affects your cortisol levels and affects your appetite? So less sleep means more need for carbs and for calories. Less sleep means lesser. You remember less, and you are sucking at being creative and jobs, and
more
so
easily
Irritatable.
irritatable. Yeah. And thank you for outlining all of this. You are quite aware what you need, and you are at the point where you know that you have to prioritize those things before other things can come, and you can be good at them. But if we have to break it down and start somewhere, usually, and we'll talk about sleep in a second, but usually, if someone understands that he or she has a problem, the first thing that they think about is I need physical activity, and I've talked with people who wanted to start doing something, but it's indeed extremely hard for them because of the stress of the schedule. If you have kids, then it's hard mode. If you have more than one kid,
It's hardcore.
it's hardcore mode.
It is.
And usually I see those people struggle with, do I go to the gym?
Where do I start?
But if I go to the gym in the evening, it's like mental. It's like all those people over there. I don't know what to do. Or do I go in the mornings? But if I go in the mornings, then I sacrifice my sleep because I have to wake up early. And what do I do? Where do I start? And usually people don't have a good idea for how many different sports they are. And the gym is number
not
one.
For me. It's for, and also there are also like beliefs like the gym is not for me, it's for stupid people,
or the gym is not for me.
Or how are people going to judge me in the gym because I'm not in a good shape and I'm a
There's
lady
ego
and
involved.
I'm old or I'm pretty, like I'm not like the people there, etc. Yeah. There's one thing that we're missing.
Yeah.
In general as human, we are missing the why. We're missing why are we doing this? Because it's like, as you're Radu, you put it as a list. Like, I know this is good to be done. This is good. This is good. This is good. But why? Why do I want to do this?
Or if you know why physical activity is good for.
Yeah, but you know it. You rationalize it.
brain.
But this is not emotional choice. It's a rational choice, and we are mainly emotional creatures.
All right.
So the problem is that, first of all, in order to change your life, you need to realize that you want to change your life. You really want it. I mean, there's a very, very strong internal reason for doing this. It might be, I had a client, very successful business, very, very successful business. And he was like, I cannot get on the bicycle to ride with my son. And this was killing him. I cannot ride my windsurf. I cannot go on ski with him because I'm so much overweight. My joints, my knees are hurting. I cannot do the things like a father does with his son. And this is heartbreaking for him. But he realized this. So let's start off with, why is this important to me? Why is it important to me to take care of my health? First of all, because I want to be able to do my favorite hobby, for example, because I want to take care of myself, because if I don't take care of myself, I'm like a single parent, for example, and I need to take care of my kids. But if you don't take care of yourself now, in a year's time, I don't want to be scaring you to death, but you're not going to be 25, 30, 35 for long. I mean, next year you're like
usually for
plus
1 year.
one, and then plus one, and then in
Yeah.
10 years' time, you're like, oh shit, when did this happen? And now I need to be taken care of, not taking care of the people that I love. So there is this realization that you need to do it. And then the reason why do I want to do it is something that's going to keep you going out to run in the snow and the rain. Keep you going out to the gym when it's dark and it's cold. Keep you going to whatever you're doing that's physical activity for you, because you know this is important and you know that you want it. And then you're like, okay, I know what I wanted, and now what am I going to do? And when you're at this level, you're like, the problem that I've seen from people is that are taking care of their health, is they want to start with everything at the same time. They want to get a fitness program, food regime, some kind of a nutrition plan. They want to have this 9 hour, at least 8 hours of sleep, and everything at the same time. It doesn't work like this. You need to start small. And sometimes people are like, don't understand that the accumulation of effort is putting in the results. So, for example, we have this funny saying that you don't gain weight between Christmas and New Year's Eve. You gain weight between New Year's Eve and Christmas, because you've been doing it 11 and a half months, and then for 1 week you won't gain 10 kilos or 20. This is not how life works. But you're like, oh my God, before Christmas I was like 80, now I'm like 90 kilos. No. Let's be serious about this. You cannot eat so much for your body to say, I want to grow 10 kilos in 1 week or 2.
So would you recommend that? I really like this idea, not starting with everything at once, because it will most probably crash, and is going to have a negative effect. Would you recommend starting with physical activity or starting with nutrition?
I would recommend starting with asking questions to yourself.
Let's say you're there.
I would start with, what's the most important thing that I need to put in order so I can pile up on. It would be, first of all, I don't have time to train at the moment. Good. Then work on the way that you eat. Every decision in our life has pros and cons, and we need to be willing to pay the price, because food might be, food is going to be easy. It will be easy if you pay someone to cook for you and have meal prep for you, or you need to pay with some extra time to meal prep for yourself. So it's either cash or time. You decide, but you need to be willing to pay the price to get the results. So you're like, okay, I'm going to put my food in order. You cut off extra calories. You can have coffee, no worries. Just don't put sugar in it. You can have a lot of water.
I think that's a bad thing to do. I think
what's the bad thing to do?
This is actually preventing a lot of people following up. When you say don't put sugar in the coffee, because this is quite an extreme thing. Why not? Like, it's 10 grams of sugar. It's not going to affect you in any way. It's rather don't eat the Snickers or eat half the Snickers. I think this puts a lot of people off, because when you've done it and when you are there and when you are aware, it's, I'm not going to put sugar in my coffee because I don't need the sugar. But you have walked a long way to get there. But if you are just starting, I think this is detrimental, and you need to be really, 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 really slow with your steps towards improvement, and don't put sugar in your coffee. For someone who's just starting, is extreme.
Yeah, but everything that you start putting on your diet plan or your workout plan is extreme. I've seen people that are overweight coming to jiu-jitsu. They cannot make a roll front or back because they're too overweight. And during warm-up, they're dead.
Yeah.
So this is extreme.
This is extreme for them.
Yeah, but sometimes you need to go through this. You need to. It will be hard to change. I'll put it in another way. You've been developing this way of eating for the last 20 years of your life.
Yeah.
And you want to change it from today for tomorrow. From this, like we said in Bulgarian, tomorrow a new person. This won't work like this. Yeah. So you need to start small, of course. But what I was referring towards lowering calories in any way that you can. It's easy for you. It might mean alcohol. Yeah, but for someone that's used to getting a couple of beers every night, it will be very hard. It's the same like the coffee. Yeah. But of course, we are very smart in delivering ways around. For example, when I was shredding and trying to get myself shredded last year, when I felt hungry for carbs or something sweet, I was going for like sweetened carbon drinks. 0 calories, but I got this. My brain gets this idea of eating something sweet. This is extreme example. I wouldn't recommend anyone trying to get in shape to do this, but it might work. Because a bottle of 2 liters of cocoa might be like a couple of thousand calories, and 2 liters of cocoa without sugar might be like 0 or like 20, 50. And it's 200 times increase, or something between 10 and whatever. And these small things work, but they need to be implemented every day, on every meal. Small things. And piling up, it will work only if you are able to measure where you were and what's happening, what's the trend, what's the OKR. Okay, the OKR is, in the next 30 days, I'm going to write down my weight in the morning, or I'm going to write down my weight once a week, just to make sure I'm on the right path. Because what fuels motivation, there's nothing that fuels motivation better than results. And when you're down like 5 kilos, and you know that last time that you tried to lose weight, you couldn't do more than -2, and you're like, oh my God, this works. And this is the moment where your brain is like, yeah, let's keep going. Because it's hard to implement new habits, but you need to make yourself capable of realizing that they lead you to a better place. It's like, I don't know if you do it in a way in the industry, but
Small iterations.
As a fitness coach, as someone that spent so much time helping people develop habits, people are they need these results to feel that they're doing something that it's not.
Their effort is worth it so far.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
because this fuels motivation immensely, and it can. I had a case with a lady that lost 19 kilos in 1 year, and told me that she has never been that fit in her life. Last time she was this type of kilos, she was before she was pregnant with her first child. She had 2. So her internal motivation was so strong that it led her there. There have been people that lost 10 kilos in the first month, and they're like, yeah, then I can reward myself, and then there we go again. So that's why I wanted to start with the internal motivation of what leads you towards the path of self-improvement, and knowing what's there is going to keep you for a longest period, and then having the results, like saying yes, you are doing the right job, keeps the motivation high as well. So you're trying in every way possible to help yourself, because I have this saying, you cannot make someone do the push-ups for you.
Yeah.
You can pay everyone to give you advice, to give you the best strategy ever. There's no such thing as best strategy ever, because everything is personal.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, but you pay and you do nothing and you expect results, and you say, hey, but your program doesn't work.
You have to do the work indeed. And let's go full circle here. I think if you have a very strong internal intrinsic motivation, it's going to be easier for you. But not everyone is at that moment where they have like family, or they have some kind of serious health scare that will be pushing them for the rest of their lives. Some folks they feel something's not right. They want to start doing something. They have kind of a semi-intrinsic motivation, and what I've seen is going to the extreme actually has a negative effect, and then they say, this is not working at all, I'm not going to train, I'm not going to eat, because every time I crash, it's even better, even more stress at work, and it's like a vicious circle. So you mentioned this like 15 minutes ago, but if we talk about physical activity, my biggest takeaway was realizing how many different sports there are. you can categorize them in like cardiovascular and resistance training, basically running and sweating and pushing and pulling weights. But there are so many sports that you will most certainly find something that works for you, but it needs some upfront effort to try. And there, of course, there are sports that require more. You need to be skilled with something. Coordination, yeah, like more skill if you play tennis or squash. Like me, you may be running a lot, but your skill might not be as good, which is great because I run a lot, and this is why I go to squash.
Some people go to football because they can run a lot.
Too many folks trying to jump in your legs and then tears. But yeah, that's a different story. It's not only gym. And I think walking is extremely underrated. Like just going for a walk for not even an hour, 30, 40 minutes, just walking in a direction, then walking back. Unfortunately, in Sofia, we have 4 months of not very walkable weather. It's like winter.
It's fine.
It's fine for you, but it's quite cold. But I think that for me, this is really important. Figure out that there are a lot of different sports and someone will click for you. It might not necessarily be gym or something else, or jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu definitely clicks for you, and this is the important part. And the same thing goes for nutrition, because folks start with extreme diet. Like I will eliminate carbs from now on. That's it. Or I will eliminate
From
meat
today.
From today. I will stop eating sweet. And I believe this is not working at all. And it's a slow and steady journey towards getting to, for example, the place where Joro is.
If you want to start somewhere, you can start with walking for 30 minutes every day. Just start with there. And then you're like, okay, I have the habit of doing something for 30 minutes every day. Then transform it to, okay, I'll be like running for 30 minutes every day. Or jumping rope for skipping for 30 minutes a day. And then when start with something small, you can upgrade and upgrade and upgrade and upgrade, but starting from something small. And then with time, improving. And this number of sports is helpful, but you might be willing and very like keen on particular sport that you want to get back to. This is another way. Another way is, okay, what are my friends doing? What are my colleagues doing? Do you know? When I started working out, my colleagues were like, ha ha ha, you're always eating eggs. We need to make a den for a chicken, for hen to get eggs here directly in the office. I was like, yeah, keep laughing. And one day I'm eating lunch. I'm eating like grilled meat and a salad. And a colleague comes in like, can you give me advice what to eat? And I'm like,
Now
so
we're talking.
don't listen to what I'm saying. Like, look what I'm doing. And if you talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. And at some point, I even had colleagues. I was training my colleagues in the gym, because for months and months they've been seeing me. What kind of energy do I have? How did I look? How positive
did you carry
was I?
yourself?
And
That's
yeah,
also
working on yourself for men is like the makeup for the women. Like working out means I'm taking care of my body and I feel like I'm in good shape. And it works miracles. I had a developer that was working in an IT company just like yours, one of my first customers, and he was going to dancing swing
Salsa,
dancing, swing dancing. And he was like, I'm dancing with these girls and they have no interest in me whatsoever. He was a skinny guy. I was like, listen, just keep going to the gym. And it doesn't matter the ways that you do reps with. It's going to transform the way that women look at you. And he was like, nah, you must be kidding me. A couple of months later, one morning, we were going to the gym. He's like, you were right. I was like, what I was right about? What was I right about? Yesterday, I was dancing with this girl, and she said, you're a different person. I mean, you're way more confident in the dancing. And it feels like girls are way more sensitive.
Yeah.
And when you take care of yourself and your body, the others are attracted towards it.
The rest will follow.
The rest follows. Yeah. And if this is the problem that you're having, and you like stick to work because you cannot find a date, for example, and it can also work on your family life just to help yourself get your mood out of the office towards your family. Just go for 30 minutes, for an hour, do the lens in the swimming pool, stay with your thoughts, or run for an hour. Itsupak Ticha, a very famous Bulgarian runner that won the Vitusha 100 kilometers run for 4 years in a row and the record holder there. It's like a meditation. Running is like meditation. It's you and on your own. And there are things that you can do. But if you don't realize that you have this problem, you don't treat it as a problem.
Of course.
So therefore, why do I want to do it? Like, and everyone has their own answer for this.
Of course, yeah. And it usually starts with, I don't want to feel that miserable. Like, and for different folks, it's a different thing. Like, I think 2 months ago, I was doing like zero physical activity, and I felt really, really bad. Like the stress levels at work, they don't change; they kind of remain constant. So that's fine. And I knew that if I start going 3 times a week to the gym and then start playing squash, I would just crash, because I've done this before. I've had the previous experience. And I decided to just tone it down a bit and started with 1 day gym, 1 day squash, and little by little building it up. And it actually worked really well. It changed my energy levels and helped me get more sleep. And as you mentioned, sleep, the other thing that's, at least for me, that I noticed related to stress is it makes a big difference to know that you are currently under stress because some things are happening, but this won't be the case in 2 days. Like in 2 days, you can be completely relaxed and recharged. And once you experience this, handling stress and handling bigger workloads gets more easy, because you know that this is not going to be forever. I'm going to rest and recharge, and I'm going to be good again next week. At least this made the difference for me, because before this I was thinking this is going on forever, and I feel I don't have the energy to carry on forever. Like, once you make this mental switch, like, oh, this is not for, it's like, weekend is coming, you will rest for a day, you will go for a walk with your wife, and next week you're going to be as good as new. I think this also helps a lot if people are feeling overwhelmed and feeling like things will continue forever, like the workloads and the stress.
What helps you?
That's a great question. What helps me? Well, walking. Walking and refreshing my mind, spending some family time helps me a lot. That's what I'm doing right now, and it definitely helps. Sport of course helps me, but sometimes just a walk is enough. Probably not enough, but it does the job in terms of stress levels and feeling better, sleeping better.
I have a very, very favorite quote that I want to share with you. And probably right now is the best time. When I was reading *Sapiens* by Harari, and there's a quote here that we are born in the last second of the added time of a football game, in terms of the span of the civilization, of the human civilization. So why do we believe that we can change the way that the evolution had through all this football game and added time has created us to be in just like some kind of a second or two? What it comes to say that movement has always been a vital part of humanity, sleep as well, so, and food. But we can go longer periods without food. Food is nice to have, it's a bonus, it's a fuel, but if we take care of our sleep and our movement, everything can get to a pretty decent place. And movement can be walking. Walking is tiresome enough for a long walk to to get your muscles running, to get your blood pumping in a way. It's the best thing you can do if you're overweight a lot. You can plan some 8,000-10,000 steps per day just to have a nice, pleasant walk around. And then upgrading is like a vitamin. It's something that's nice to have, but not the most important thing. The second quote is Benjamin Franklin, my favorite quote. Early to bed, early to rise, makes men healthy, wealthy, and wise. And people that want to sleep longer, they're like, I wake up in the morning and I'm like underslept. When did you go to bed? Around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. It's called midnight. Midnight is 00.00. And going to bed after midnight means that you're having half a night of sleep. I go to bed around 10. And it's massive. I wake up at 6 and I'm like, let's go. I have this energy that's coming through this period of sleep. You have human growth hormone secretion is way higher before midnight. The circadian rhythms, and some people are very creative in the night, but it comes to say that you need to have early. It's two habits that are interconnected. Go to bed early, wake up early, and you're like well rested. Don't go to bed late and wake up early. It doesn't work like this. It's like it cannot be one of these, and it's the whole situation with movement also creates this stigma of like, are you training? Oh no, I'm not training, so you're a bad person. You're not a bad person. It's a balance of life. But if you have achieved professional success, if you have achieved personal success, you have a family, you have kids, this means that you can succeed in something simple as just moving.
Yeah.
And treat it the way that you treated the things that you became successful in. Because I admire people that have 2 or 3 kids. I mean, before I even had one. And I was like, you're a successful person. Like, take care of your body so you can have more time with the people that are important to you. And it's just treat your body like it's another child of yours.
Yeah.
If I don't put effort into my podcast, it won't grow. If I don't put effort into my body, it won't continue to deteriorate slower. It will deteriorate quicker because everything else in my life, the stress, the lack of sleep, or waking up during the night because of the baby, etc., it pays the price, and I'm paying the price with my body, and then we're going to slowly and steadily go into.
We will crash and not know how we got there.
Yeah,
we'll get a health scare and not know how we got there.
And it's simple. There are simple things. Simple and free things can work miracles for you.
Yeah. I think I really like how this episode turned out, because we had for the cameras we have some kind of a structure that we prepare with the guest.
It was
but
so unstructured.
it was unstructured, and I really liked it because there was a lot of things to be said, and now is the time to address something that Joro's doing with I think LimeChain.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say the name?
Longevity. It's like
Longevity.
Longevity and IT, because it's in Bulgarian, fortunately.
It's in Bulgarian, yeah.
But it's for the IT sector, because Georgi and the people in LimeChain, they're blockchain development company, not only. And they were like, okay, our colleagues have this community in our company that is talking about longevity practices, nutrition, food, sleep, psychologists, etc. And we gathered some local knowledge to be helpful. But what I would like to advise everyone that's looking at us at the moment or listening to us, think about people that have their health status where you want your health status to be. They don't try to follow people that are Mr. Olympias or like Olympic champions.
Very well
Just
said.
think about like a colleague of yours that's in a good physical shape. ask him what he's training, what he's doing, what he's eating, try to replicate. And same thing for ladies, of course. Someone is in shape, ask them what they do, what they train. Find like goal buddies, people that you do things with, so you're like responsible to go, and accountability partners, etc., etc. And it can be simple as that. Change your environment. If everyone in the people that you're spending time with is like keen on alcohol and smokes a lot, you cannot expect yourself to be in a very good physical shape for a long period of time. Just put yourselves in positions that you strive in, and you improve, and you become a better person compared to your yesterday's situation, because it's one of the ways. You're either going to be pulled up, or you're going to be pulled down. Your choice.
That's not easy at all. I mean,
no, I'm
changing your own environment is something that,
oh no,
you know.
I never said easy, did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, just finding new friends and leaving all your old friends.
Well,
You
not
don't need to
necessarily
leave them.
extreme. Yeah.
You put yourselves in different situations.
Yeah, I mean that sounds right, but I think in practice is really, really hard to achieve, to change the environment around you.
But you don't change it all the time. You're meeting up with your friends, and you also have a different type of friends that you do something different with. For example, if you want to join a book club, it doesn't mean you need to stop going out with your friends that don't read books. It means that you meet new friends that love to read books, and you love to read books too. And I had this problem with my best friends, by the way. At some point, they got a bit like aggressive towards me. Like, you don't want to spend some time with us? I'm like, I really don't need to play PlayStation 4 and then drink beers the whole Saturday. I mean, I wanted to meet inspiring people, and this was some kind of a internal why that I had. I want to meet with people that I want to be like. And this doesn't mean that you're bad people. It means that I need something else in my life at the moment. And right now I'm spending time with them, seeing each other from every now and again. But same thing goes with when you have a family. And everyone's like, yeah, you stopped going out with us. Yeah, because my daughter needs to go to sleep at 8 and I want to see her because I work until 7 and I need to spend some time with her. So if I need to choose between my friends and my daughter, sorry friends at the moment, but she will grow, and then we can do things together. This is how life goes. And life is the only thing that's certain is change. So you can speed up change in a positive way by trying things that you haven't tried to achieve the results that you didn't have. And the other way around, if you want to keep getting what you're getting, keep doing what you're doing. Do I sound like a Tony Robbins now?
And perhaps just to balance it a bit, I mean, because people tend to strive for perfection or the best program or the best diet, and they start listening to all kinds of podcasts, which are great podcasts, but they then start doing everything that Andrew Huberman is saying to them, which will not work. And I mean, it's okay for everything not to be perfect. It's the most important thing, as Georgi said, as Joro said, is find what makes you progress in a positive way and expand on it little by little, and things accumulate, and then it will start yielding results. But for sure, just don't start fitnessing, dieting, listening to podcasts, taking supplements, and all that jazz at once, because it will not have good results.
Yeah, it might have, because there are committed people, but on the other hand, it might turn you down.
It's a gamble.
It is a gamble. So knowing yourself is the best way to go around. See what worked, what didn't, try different things, and experiment. Because experimenting is going to take you to what works best and what doesn't work. And you will know for future reference if you need to. But I had people that I only give them programs, and they're like absolute machines, no questions, nothing. They're like self-accountable, etc., etc., etc. But people are different. There are people that are hundreds of emails, thousands of messages, and you cannot simply answer to all their questions. And they both get results. And you're like, what's the right answer? There's no unified answer. It means that people are different. People need different ways of external motivation. And also, it means that you need to dig deep into your own self, because you are only responsible for your own results. No one else is responsible. I love hearing about the food in the like the big shopping centers and shops is GMO or whatever. It's a bad food. It's calories are calories. It's science. Calories are calories. Stick to calories, and there's this equation, the equation about input output of energy. You're like, okay, if you have this logical way of thinking, think about income and output of energy. If you are more into like emotions, try to find emotional ways to help yourself or to support yourself, or get into groups, or find the people that you train with. Put like a very very small goal, like I want to compete in a marathon, or whatever really provokes you to be persistent. There's another quote here. It's by Bill Gates. It says, people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10. So if you plan yourself in 10 years, how would you like to look like? What would you like to have in your life, as in terms of movement, in terms of everything that's related towards you and your communication and like connections with others, etc., etc., etc. Just think about a northern star that you can develop for yourself, so you know what path you're going on. Because for me, every day starts with the most important thing: to have a workout. Period. Simple as that. I don't need to check my meal plan. I just need to do the training.
Bless you.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Joro balanced my balancing point. I think that's we arrived at the famous "it depends." It's very personal, but I believe people will find something and then they will follow up, because we cannot achieve this in hour and a half, almost 2 hours, I think. Yeah, hour and a half. Let's leave it here, so we can have further topics to discuss in the future. I think even being unstructured, this turned out to be a great episode. And for the Bulgarian listeners, I highly recommend you go listen to first Joro's podcast and then the Longevity. I cannot say it.
Longevity. It's part of the Superhuman podcast. Yeah. It's like Свръхчовекът с Georgi Nenov's YouTube and Spotify.
It's in that YouTube channel. I was looking for it. And yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining our HackCast. This is season 4, episode number 4. At least for me, I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the discussions.
It was great.
For me, I would like to thank you first for being a partner of the Superhuman podcast. I remember talking to you, Rado, on 115 was the podcast number, and taking
5
you
years ago, yeah.
Taking you to the parking lot and talking, and then I come back and I check my Patreon page, and there's Rado supporting the podcast, it was huge for me back then, because the podcast monetized itself actually from people that really liked what I was doing, and it has not been marketed. It was just growing organically. Then having Teddy send this message, and I was invited to all HackConfs, and I really hope to see a HackConf again sooner or later. Being there, meeting amazing people like Eddie, for example, being part of the discussions of the workshops. I've met amazing people that I've invited to the podcast, like Alex Popov, for example, one of the people that brought us Uber engineering here in Sofia, etc., etc., and also for you as HackSoft to supporting my podcast at the moment, and it means the world, and I'm really everything that I built was part of this win-win mentality, and I know that today was unstructured, but if someone has a question, ask it in the comments.
Yes.
Everyone might have a different question, so I'll promise to answer to every question that's there. I'm going to point you towards things that I believe that are valuable or might give you an answer, because as one of my favorite quotes says, the quality of your questions determine the quality of your life. It's not about answers. We can tell you eat more veggies, eat more meat, drink more water, and you're going to be fit. Yeah, but no, there's like it. I always say in my podcast because that there's a lot of context because it's longer format. But if you don't have the ability to ask questions and keep working deeper towards what lies behind and further in depth into this particular problem. Okay, I am overweight. Why? Am I moving? Am I eating properly? Am I sleeping enough? Am I feeling in a way emotionally suppressed? Then you can start with, you go to therapist, talk to him about all these things. Start digging with questions. And then sooner or later you start figuring out, okay, this is a trend, this is something that's keep going and repeating, and questions are more important than answers. In the term that we're discussing, in the topic that we're discussing today, health, it's even deeper than that. So keep asking yourselves, because you are the only people that are responsible for your own health. So ask yourselves questions like we are here between us, but do it to yourself, because no one is going to judge you. No one is going to be to care what you're asking yourself. Just making a small process. It might be journaling or whatever works for you. And the last thing would be look for people that are you have this win-win mentality to work together, because it's not the world is full of opportunities for everything, for food, for movement, for activities, for training. Just find your thing. It's a massively full of opportunities world that is going to be easier for you to find your things or to see what's not your thing and keep looking. And I would like to invite your viewers to subscribe, because you're giving a very nice keyboard away for 1,000 subscribers.
We were planning on including a separate cut that we filmed with Teddy, but let's show the...
No, it does key. Oh, may I say it? I've always listened to you guys talk about this keyboard, professional.
That's a really nice keyboard, by the way. If you are working professionally with a keyboard, it's a really, really nice keyboard. And we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. I think almost 150 more. And then we will pick one of you 1,000 and send you this beautiful keyboard. So please subscribe so we can get rid of this keyboard, because we're just passing it around in the office and people are asking, oh, can I take this keyboard? I will subscribe with all my YouTube
Keep
accounts.
subscribing.
Yeah.
And what's a full N key rollover? There's a list spinning thing on the keyboard.
Well,
volume knob.
this is a volume control.
Really?
Plus, you can program it to do other things.
Oh, right. Awesome. I'm a key gamer, by the way, and I really loved keyboards. So
And we have one more thing for you before we finish. We usually do this after we're done recording, but we decided it's better to pass the gift for the guest while we're recording.
it's a cake, cheesecake.
No. I think there might be some...
May I open it?
Of course.
Okay.
I will... Come here, keyboard.
Come here, keyboard. Let's see. Oh, I love gifts. Thank you so much. Is it Christmas already?
Almost.
Oh,
So-
yeah, socks.
We
And
have socks, a t-shirt,
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
and some artisanal
Walk
chocolate.
the extra mile. I will walk the extra mile. Oh, t-shirt. Yes. I have a t-shirt, but I'll have another t-shirt, HackSoft t-shirt. And this is to spice up and sugary my coffee. What makes people powerful, money and status, fixing bugs in other people's code.
Yeah, we love memes.
Yeah,
we
it's
are a
amazing.
miming company. So, Georgi, thank you very much. It was an extremely interesting conversation. Much for people to follow up. Again, as Georgi said, ask questions. He will answer and guide you towards the right direction. And that was it.
Before asking the questions, like and subscribe because it helps a lot.
Like and subscribe. It helps a lot. It helps us run this podcast. It makes Teddy happy. Teddy's right now with smiles up to her ears. If this is the right way to say it in English, that's it.
Put comments in because comments help the algorithm and will help HackSoft as well to improve. If you're watching in YouTube, of course, but if you're in Spotify or any audio platform, just tell your friends that there's this amazing Bulgarian podcast of people that are sharing their knowledge and experience in building an IT company here in Bulgaria. And thank you on their behalf for doing it.
Bye.